you think?
What do you think? The new always have one more button to push over here. Anyways, how you doing this morning? If you were on the pre-show, you know I got a lot to talk about. Want to stop, though, and have a nature break here for just a moment. You know, over here at WCRS, we have quite a layout here. So I wanted to share with you some of the wildlife that we have here. If you listen on a regular basis, you know that Penny and I are chasing the armadillo, trying to get him off our property. We haven't seen him in the last couple of days. I don't know if that means anything or not, but we haven't seen him in the last couple of days. Maybe he got the message and left. Don't know. However, the deer are quite prolific in our area right here. And, you know, I've been wondering because we hadn't seen any fawns. And Sunday morning, I'm out there with Penny. And sure enough, coming out of the woods is a doe with two fawns. So I think it's real interesting that when the fawns are born, that quite often they end up in a field and they're told by their mama, you just stay down until I come and get you. And of course, one of the things with living the country life they have talked about is that when a farmer goes to get the hay off a field, that one of the things they should be careful of is they should inspect a field to make sure there aren't any fawns in the fields. I don't know where they're keeping them. I guess somewhere in the woods. I can walk around anywhere on the property and hear them in the woods. So can Penny, by the way. She's like a mercat. She stands up on her hind feet. I've got the leash on her, and she goes, let me at him, Mom. Let me at him. Let me at him. Anyways, the two fawns are beautiful, and I hope they survive. But we certainly have a plethora of wildlife right here. Since Penny went after the bunnies the other night, though, I can actually say she did not catch any bunnies, but I can actually say we've seen no bunnies. They've been scared the bejesus out of them after she went out there at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night scaring them. So we haven't seen any bunnies, but I'm sure they'll be back. Anyways, that's a little bit of a nature break for you this morning. By the way, there will be no show tomorrow. Penny is getting spayed tomorrow. Yes, it's true. I feel a little bit, I'm concerned about it. Of course, anytime you are concerned about your dog putting them under and this type of thing, but it's time, unless we want to have little pennies running around, and I have opted for no more little pennies. We've got one is enough. Okay. All right, let's talk about some of the issues that are out there. Of course, Trump, just to talk about Trump, is taking another victory lap on the tariffs, this time with the EU. There is a 15% tariff on either side of the pond here on goods and services. However, Europe is going to, the EU will be taking a lot of our produce. They will be taking a lot of our beef and whatnot. So that will certainly help our farmers. You know, there is one thing to think about. If the farmers are making money and they are able to open up new markets, then the farmers' subsidies that they have probably will drop out eventually. So that will be a cost saving, and that's not anything that somebody is talking about. But, you know, the U.S. government keeps the farmers propped up, in particularly for bad weather, drought, all these type of things. So just think if they had a stable market and were able to raise and have a market to send their stuff to. This is happening not only, I believe, in Australia, it's also happening in England, Europe, all over Europe with the EU, and some other countries have. Did Canada decide? I don't remember. But anyways, they've certainly expanded their reach, so that is a good thing. The EU also will be buying military equipment from the United States, as well as investing and buying energy from us and some other things. So overall, looks like a fantastic deal, another art of the deal by President Donald Trump. Congratulations. I mean, is anybody tired of winning yet? That is what the question. You remember during his first term, we'll win so much you'll get tired of winning. I don't think anybody's tired of winning. I think everybody just wants to see how it is going to work. Aren't you interested? Is it going to affect your bottom line? Is it, they're talking about all this money coming into the Treasury because of tariffs. There also is some talk about a rebate for the American people. So we'll see how this works. I think the judgment on it is out there, but I do think most people are seeing that, number one, it has not pushed us into a recession. It has not done all the things that the left was concerned about. So as August 1st looms, when according to Trump, it is the end of the grace period. If you don't have your deal, you're going to have higher tariffs. We'll see what happens. Today he is meeting, not he, but his team is meeting with China to see whether they're going to have any reason to continue talking. The one thing that concerns me about China is the very fact that they have our medications over there. We don't make any medications. Now, I understand that is changing, but we still have to get it to the point to change. That is for sure. That's where we are on that. As far as on the federal government, another story that is happening out there, Epstein. This story just won't seem to quit. I know President Trump is tired of hearing about it, but what was it? The assistant DA, what was his name? Blanche, I think, went to Florida, talked to Ghislaine Maxwell for 2 days. There is somewhat of a story, and I don't know about the veracity of it. She wants to get out of there, of course. She's facing 20 years. She will be an old lady when she gets out. So the question is, Ghislaine Maxwell granted limited immunity while giving the DOJ 100 different people linked to Jeffrey Epstein report. Well, what does this mean? I think this is the question. Is she saying, is she putting out names of people that she knows that she and her, Jeffrey Epstein dealt with? So she says she answered questions from the Justice Department officials about 100 different people linked to Jeffrey Epstein. David Oscar Marcus, that is her attorney, told reporters that his client, serving a 20-year sentence after being convicted in Manhattan of federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges, was asked about every possible thing you could imagine. He said everything. This is the first opportunity she's ever been given to answer questions about what happened. The truth will come out and what happened with Mr. Epstein, and she is the person who's answering those questions. If she lies, they could charge her with lying. Here's what I have to say. It seems to me everybody lies. Everybody lies. So, we haven't had any problem with Brennan and some of these other people on the Russia. They didn't have any problem with that. But anyways, I digress. What they're saying is, and I don't know whether it's true, this is a story from the New York Post, and I've seen several of them around here. Her attorney described the commander-in-chief Friday as the ultimate deal maker and claimed his client has been treated unfairly for the past 5 years. We hope he exercises that power of a pardon and is just. So supposedly, she has given up 100 names, 100 names. So what do you think? Do you believe this? I don't know. If there's 100 names, what exactly did she give up with them? Just that Epstein knew them, did business with them, or were they on the Lolita Express? I don't know, but this is the big buzz, and this is causing President Trump, I'm going to say, some indigestion. Although we had a falling out with him in 2004, it seems to be the story that just won't go away. Now even they're saying, linking Melania Trump having been, I just saw a picture in the New York Post showing Epstein and Ghislaine and Melania Trump and Trump back in at the Mar-a-Lago Club, February 12th, 2000. So lots of stories out there, and everybody just loves having the opportunity to put their spin on it. I think the best thing is to wait and see. But the other question that came out of this story that I just wanted to mention is that it is not normal. It is not normal for an Assistant Attorney General Blanche, I think that's what his title is, to go and meet with her. Basically, was it by himself? There's a big question about how many people were in the room, yada, yada, yada. So we'll have to see what that story is about. And why did he do this? Why didn't some lower level person go? That would be the other question. Why did he go? I think it's a story that definitely puts some interest in there. What are they trying to cover up? What are they trying to expose? What are they trying to control? One of the things that they are trying to control all across the board is the message. So that's a story that's going to keep on giving. It's not going away. However, in other news, it was rumored that Ralph Norman was going to jump into the race. And he has jumped into the race. He did that Sunday afternoon, and he had quite a turnout for this, So I think it's great. I think personally, this is my personal opinion, I think that he had no choice either to get out and retire or go for the governorship. Where else could he go? He and Trump definitely have been at odds in a lot of points. He was a very big supporter of Nikki Haley. In fact, as I've told you, I had conversations with him, with Ralph Norman when he was here, and he said she is the only one when he was talking about Nikki Haley. He's gone on and been in Congress. He won his reelection to his seat, even though Nikki Haley did not make her bid. He has been at odds with Trump on several issues. Kind of makes you wonder why. Why has he been at the end, support the president? But he didn't have a good path forward as far as staying in Congress. So he has garnered, let's see, what have we got here? I've got several articles about that. Ralph Norman announces run for governor of South Carolina. He was in front of a packed house at the Magnolia Room, and he is running for governor of South Carolina. During Norman's remarks, he promised to clean up Columbia. Ha! Now that ought to be a deal. Clean up Columbia, pass term limits. How do you get people to term limit themselves? That is the question. So, and the governor, by its very nature of the office, is term limited. But how do you get House of Representatives and senators to term limit themselves? The best answer, because I've asked that question for years, it's always the same. Well, when the people don't want us and they can vote us out, we shouldn't have to term limit ourselves. I've heard that from the very first day because that's been an issue that I've been on. So I would be most interested on how he could get people to term limit themselves. He also wants to prepare South Carolina for the next generation by fixing our crumbling roads and improving our schools. Okay. Well, that sounds good, but we're already on a trajectory. We already have a lot of money being spent on it. Part of the problem, I do believe, for South Carolina and fixing our roads is there are not enough people who are in the road, we'll call it the road fixing business, the pavers, this type of thing. And it is exorbitantly expensive for every mile. I forget how much it is for paving and this type of thing. The bridges, I think that has become a top issue. I do think the House and Senate and Governor McMaster have addressed that. They have put extra money. In fact, there are some bridges right here in our area that are going to be given top-notch attention. So that's another part of it. But what else can he do that's not already being done? When I get the opportunity to ask him, I will make sure that I ask him that question. He's touting the fact that he too has not spent his life in politics. He says, I'm a builder for over 30 years, and this is from his speech Sunday. I worked as a real estate developer. My father, brother, and now the next generation of Normans have created one of the most successful development companies in South Carolina. We have built shopping centers, homes, neighborhoods, places for South Carolinians to live and work. These projects have created countless good jobs for people across the state. So, he is the foundation for everything I do, whether in a business or public service, is simple. Faith, family, and freedom, and the determination to implement those principles. I've seen too many corrupt politicians in Columbia looking out for themselves, not for you. And in Washington, I've seen career politicians who care more about winning the next election than securing the future for the next generation. We do not need more career politicians or lawyers running our government. We need business leaders, people who've signed both the front and the back of a paycheck, folks who have built something, taken risks, made money, and yes, lost money too. I've done that, and that's exactly the kind of real-world experience we need in public office. Then he says, thankfully, we have a great businessman and fellow developer back in the White House. Just look at what a difference President Trump has made in 6 months. And I believe South Carolina needs that same kind of leadership right here at home, which is why I announce. He then goes on and talks about all the things I said. He wants to clean up Columbia, finally take down the corrupt political establishment. Yeah. All right. Let's hold him accountable to that. It is interesting to note, I think we should note, Pamela Evatt is also, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evatt is a business person. I find it interesting that Ralph Norman is taking that same tact as he is a businessman. And then, of course, there is Josh Kimbrell out there who is in a problem, has had to turn over some assets from a company that he had started. We'll see where that one's going. I don't think that this looks very good for Josh Kimbrell, but who knows? The truth will set you free, so who knows where that'll be. And then, of course, we have Alan Wilson, the state's top lawmaker, law enforcement officer, who has garnered a slew of sheriff's endorsement. I guess the question comes down to, I wanted to say that why do I want to say Merle? Ralph Norman has gathered quite a list of endorsers. Nikki Haley is endorsed him. Of course, that's not a surprise since he was on the bus tours and working heavily to get Nikki Haley into the presidential race. But the campaign of Ralph Norman for governor announced the endorsements of both former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and former governor, as well as former U.S. Senator Jim DeMint. Now, there is a name we don't hear of very often. And Ralph Norman is a strong conservative, a principled leader, and a friend who helped take on the Columbia establishment and never stopped. I'm proud to stand with Ralph and endorse him for governor, said former governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Ralph will finally clean up Columbia, pass term limits, and prepare South Carolina for the next generation. When Ralph Norman is governor, it will once again be a great day in South Carolina. That being said by former Governor Nikki Haley. I just think this is so interesting. I don't really know what to make of it as far as that goes. I don't think he could have stayed in Congress. So going in this direction, this is the epitome for most legislators to be able to be the governor. That is a huge plum. If you looked up principled conservative in a dictionary, there would be a picture of Ralph Norman. I'm proud to endorse him for governor, said former U.S. Senator Jim DeMint. How about that? If you want someone who will fight for term limits, lower taxes, and less government, then Ralph Norman is the choice to lead South Carolina forward. Most interesting. Jim DeMint, Nikki Haley, I'm not surprised. After all, he did endorse her, so I'm not surprised on that. Here, though, is one that I think maybe goes to the good old boys. Ralph Norman, former Trump chief of staff, Mark Meadows, supports Ralph Norman for governor. Ralph Norman for governor campaign announced the support of former Trump chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows was the founder of the House Freedom Caucus. He was a member of Congress from North Carolina. He was also the chief of staff during Trump's first term. He had some issues with what went on in the first term there, but looks like he has slid through and come back strong. And Meadows said the following: I'm here today first and foremost to say that the next conservative governor of South Carolina should be Ralph Norman. Ralph and I served in Congress together. His record speaks for itself. He's called a defender of economic freedom by the Club for Growth. Club for Growth. Oh, yeah. All right. He's called ultra-conservative by the New York Times. There's a reason for all that. Ralph has spent his career and life not just in politics but in business. Ralph Norman will clean up Columbia like President Trump is cleaning up D.C. Okay, I'm not sure about that. We'll have to question that, but that's a good one right there. And so those are some of the people that have come out and already endorsed. In fact, they were at his announcement, which happened yesterday. So what do you think about it? 864-229-7984, 864-229-7984. Do you know anything about Ralph Norman? Do you think that there is... how do you think this race is shaping up? It's still very early, very, very early. But how do you think this race is shaping up? I think it's going to be interesting. We have now two people in the race, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette and Ralph Norman, both touting their background in business. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette has been in the office. She knows the workings. I think one of the things that I like about Pamela Evette is the fact that she's been there on day one. It'll be a smooth transition. Not to say that there's not going to be a learning curve, not to say that, when you take the reins, it's sometimes the things that you think don't always turn out. Actually, we've seen that with President Trump. But what about Ralph Norman? Is he a true conservative, or is he really had a lot of problems with Trump, which I think is going to, even though he came around in the end, I think in the end is going to cause him some problem with the MAGA supporters. I'm not sure. I haven't really talked to anybody that much, but I think that could be a problem for him. And he was a huge Nikki Haley supporter, and of course there was a big rift between Trump and Nikki Haley, which I don't think changed much. There still is that rift. All right, so that's that topic right there. What else do we have to talk about? I talked about the deer, the doe, and the fawns. Yes, that's a cool story. Things just keep happening over here at WCRS, and I think it's kind of cool. Don't forget that they are keeping students safe during the heat wave. They are doing that, so they will not have any outside activities. They are keeping them inside, so no sports, there'll be no sports, no activity, PE and recess sports. So that will be going on, and that I believe is today through Wednesday because of the heat. So actually it started yesterday. All sports are in a dead period, so there can be no activity in a sport during this period. So just something to know, understand. The kids are going to be kept inside. I do want to say that I think Superintendent Shane Goodwin, certainly was out there in force with seeing the kids, being seen in the schools, talking to teachers and everything. It looks like he's off to a great start. So that's a little bit more on this, but it is very hard to be in school with this heat. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, we didn't even have air conditioning, right? So the very fact that they have air conditioning, unbelievable. And like I said earlier, 66 degrees yesterday afternoon when we were at over 100 degrees yesterday. 66 degrees in Maine. Wow. That was like unbelievable. This is going to be a good one. Let's check this out. This will be happening. When will this be happening? Okay, this is a good event. Boaters Uniting for People with Special Needs at the 11th Annual Cruising for a Cause Boat Run. This is terrific. This is always a great event, and this will be happening. The 11th Annual Cruising for a Cause boat run will be held Saturday, August 16th on Lake Greenwood. The purpose of the boat run is to bring awareness of people with disabilities and special needs in Abbeville, Edgefield, Greenwood, Lawrence, Lexington, McCormick, and Saluda counties and helping fund them. The event begins at 10 a.m. at any of the 5 stops on Lake Greenwood, the last boat in at Camp Fellowship at 3 p.m. Live auction begins at 3:30. Registration is available at any of the 5 stops day of the event, including Break on the Lake, Harris Landing, Port Grill, Lighthouse, RV Park and Marina, or Skippers on Lake Greenwood. For more information, you can contact the Burton Center for Special Needs at 864-942-8902 or the Lawrence County Special Needs at 864-683-5625. that is always a really great event. So that's a good one for you right there. We have always so much going on. Don't forget, and we'll talk more about this Wednesday and Thursday, that this is tax-free weekend is coming up. I think it starts Thursday night at midnight, runs through Sunday at midnight. So this is your opportunity to buy the things that you need, everything from clothing, computers, but there are some things that are not allowed when you're buying for example, when you're buying printers, there's some things, is it a printer? Something, anyways, ink, something doesn't qualify. So they have some kind of quirky stuff. I'll be interested to see if they've changed any of that or not. But that list, I'm sure, is out there, and we'll get that and discuss that. All right, again, this week I am taking off my afternoon show. And I'm also taking Penny to be spayed tomorrow, so I will not be here tomorrow. However, I am could use just a few little prayers up there for Miss Penny. Make sure she comes through this. You know, they say, and no running around for 3 or 4 days, I think they said. I'm like, do you expect me to deal with this? I think I should have put her in a spa for a few days, but I'm going to attempt to take care of my very lively puppy, So that's it. Other than, is there anything else I should have mentioned? I don't think so. I think we have gotten things on the roll here. It's Monday, and I'm glad to be here after the weekend. However, I'm tired of this hot weather. I don't know about you, but I am tired of this hot weather. It is getting old. We have been in this since mid-June, really, right? Mid-June. So I am very tired of it. I hope it ends soon. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to try to tell you about. What else did I have here this morning? I did have that I wanted to share with you. Okay, where is it? Oh, I can't find it. I should have pulled that up. Okay. Well, I guess, let's see if I can do it this way. National Day calendar. Here we go. This I do want to tell you about. It's National Milk Chocolate Day, National Water Park Day, and the Buffalo Soldiers Day. And I would like to close with this because this is something you may not realize, but Buffalo Soldiers Day is on July 28th, commemorates the formation of the first regular Army regiments comprising African American soldiers in 1866. We are showing our appreciation and honoring the history of Buffalo soldiers in the American military. So that is today. And I think that is pretty terrific. That's when they first were able to have and did have their own regiments. You know, a lot of people don't realize they were not commingled together, just like the planes that were in World War II? Yeah, the World War II. They were separate, so they were separate but equal, but they were not commingled together. Isn't it great that today that we just have everybody being looked at as people, So it's National Buffalo Soldiers Day, and it is National Milk Chocolate Day. So when it comes to chocolate, it is certainly good. You can drizzle it on National Milk Chocolate Day. Dive into the ever-popular National Milk Chocolate Day. If you do, it'll melt really quick. So whatever you're doing, if you're putting it on ice cream or just trying to eat a candy bar, good luck. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. That's going to do it for me today. Certainly hope you have a great day. Let's take it away, and have a great day. I will be back on Wednesday. Bye-bye, everybody. And bye-bye, everybody. Okay, and what happened here? What happened? Here we go.
Keep on sharing. The phones are open. Keep on laughing. Give us a call. You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop. You're on the air. As long